is an elephant.
We seem to be having some technical difficulties again today. Hello, everyone. Hello, hello, hello. How are you guys doing? So sorry about the technical difficulties. I hope we're going to get some more people. I want people to be filing into the room. I know this was kind of a last minute. I wasn't sure what I was going to do. I was not sure whether or not I was going to pop in and pop on today. Or what I was going to do. So I decided to pop on. We're going to let the room fill up a little bit, and then we're going to start talking about the divine feminine, whether or not it's a cult, it's culture, or is it consciousness, or is it all things? Hello, Shelly Shell. Hello, everyone on YouTube and on Facebook. Welcome, welcome, welcome to the Sunday Soul Podcast. So, this is actually episode 43. I will figure out how to count very soon. I will figure out how to count very soon. Yeah, a lot was going on. So we're going to renumber everything and we're going to make sure that everything is everything. Everything is everything. Hello, Red Violet. After winter. Hello, Cericia. So hello to my YouTubers. Hello to my Facebookers. I'll try to bring up the Facebook chat here shortly. I've got some things going on. I'm in one of the chat rooms. So I wanted to talk to you today. We're going to kind of get this going. That's right. Must come spring. Everything is everything. Listen, we are in the midst of, at the very least, a culture war, and I think we all know that. What I've been seeing, though, and why we're here talking about this tonight, is I've been also seeing a problem with the takeover of the divine feminine. There's been a takeover of this divine feminine energy in the culture. And I'm going to say for right now, I don't want anybody to get offended, but I'm going to talk about Black folk culture a little bit. I suppose there's probably some in other culture, but I'm not as up to date on that. So I'm going to talk about it in regard to pop culture. Really, I guess it could be everybody's pop culture, whether or not it's becoming a cult, or is it a consciousness? Is it all three at the same time? I'm going to preface this by also saying this. We as a humanity, as a human race, have constantly and consistently done a few things. We have, for one, constantly and consistently taken things that are of the light or on the lighter end or higher frequency spectrum of polarity. And what happens is, because we are in third dimensional density, which requires polarity to exist, all existence is based upon a level of polarity. However, the denser the energy, or the lower the dimension, the denser the energy. So the lower the dimension, the more compact and dense the energy. Therefore, the polarity feels like it's way more intense because it's so close together. Because we're packed in, our energetic fields are so close, we are basically vibrating at a rather low frequency. In the grand scheme of things, the polarity feels a lot more intense because each opposite end of the pole is closer together. Follow me, I am going somewhere with this. So, but because of that situation, because of that reality, because of that truth, whenever concepts of light are introduced into humanity, immediately, of course, there must be that same concept, equal and opposite, in the darkness. And because there must be that equal and opposite in the darkness, that then becomes a, shall we say, a bastardization, a copy, right, of what is of the light. Perfect example is the opposite of love is what? It's not hate, actually, it's fear. Opposite of love is fear. When you are walking in love and walking in purpose and walking in all these wonderful things, you really are rather fearless if you think about it. I mean, if you're walking in true love of self and true love of others, and we're walking in this service to others rather than service to self, then what happens is you become fearless in the fact that you know you can create anything because you know you are everything and everything is you. However, right, so love and freedom on one side, and then there's fear and control on the other. Anytime you get fearful of something, you are what? Gripped by fear. You don't hear anybody saying that they're gripped by love, right? You're gripped by fear. So, anytime there is a higher dimensional energy or realism or wisdom entered into the mix in humanity, what happens is that we end up with equal and opposite on the other side, and then we end up with this tug of war. And because we're in such tight density, because we're in such dense reality right now, energy wise, it can appear to be of the light when really it is a poor copy of, and will lead you down a rather bad path. Now, I will tell you what was the impetus to this entire discussion tonight. The impetus to this entire discussion tonight is I've been looking, I peruse and walk sometimes around on the YouTube streets, and I look and see what's going on in the IG corners, and then I listen to the banter in the Twitter hallways, and I watch the cheerins as they peek in and out of their TikTok doors. And what I've been, of course, seeing, I'm sure some of you may have seen this, is that we have the singer, songstress, artist Lizzo that has come to the forefront again, and she has made some various appearances, one of which was to a birthday party where she was in a completely sheer outfit. That's you, boo. I'm not, don't, I don't want the hate train to start. I'm not fluffy shaming. I'm not fat shaming. I'm not body shaming. I'm making a statement. So follow me before you cancel me. So she shows up in this, right? And then on her Instagram live within the last 24 to 48 hours at the time of this recording on October the 17th, 2021, she also, there was a troll in her Instagram live, and my understanding is she decided to take down her pants and show her behind, literally. in all its glory on Instagram Live. Now, this comes on the heels of just about 3-4 weeks ago, maybe, when she came out with her song Rumors with Cardi B. And I thought it was I enjoyed the video. I enjoyed the song. I thought it was cute. I thought it was wonderful. I think she looked good. Cardi looked good. It was before she had the baby. But she looks good either way. But my point being is, then there were a lot of people, though, discussing and trolling Lizzo and saying that she looked like a mammy, all this stuff. And then she goes on kind of a media tour where there's lots of tears and lots of people don't just appreciate me for who I am. And people are mean to me because of my weight, because of this, because of that. And, she throws in the R word in there and some isms and things of that nature. Now, this is culture. Also, as a part of the culture, I've thus heard that on the side of the Philadelphia buses, there's this whole Meek Mill has his new album cover, and there are women in various states of dress and doing various things, and they're Black women and not shown in a very positive light, right? We have we have a lot of different women in the culture, artists typically, that are coming out and they're saying, I get to do whatever I want. I get to act however I want. All of this, don't shame me, don't this, don't that. I am living my best goddess life and they're doing these things in the name of living a goddess life or in the name of living in the divine feminine. Now, I'm going to propose to you, and we're going to deal with culture, we're going to deal with cult, and then we're going to deal with consciousness. I'm going to propose to you that the actions don't agree with or correlate with the conversation. They don't correlate with the consciousness. Goddesses are empowered women, right? We're empowered women. We are, I'm not exactly, I'm not skinny, and I love every inch of me. Love every inch of me. Okay? But when I see young women, older women out here in the culture, and they are saying that they're walking around and being empowered as goddesses, and yet what is happening is they are over sexualizing themselves to the point where the first impression you get of them is not their goddess energy. Okay, it's not their divine femininity. It is instead, though, their sexuality and their sensuality. I'm not saying they should be ashamed of their bodies, but hear me out. Part of the problem we have had historically as women, not just the fact that we live in a patriarchy and all of this and the misogyny and that. Move that over here. But we have allowed ourselves as well, and some of us do this still to this day, only we're not out on Instagram and we ain't out on Facebook and we ain't out selling out, large arenas and things of that nature, and we don't have top 10 or Grammy hits. But we are putting our body forward as a sacrifice and as the lead magnet, if you will, for relationships, for male or female, whichever one, or partnership. Let's put that out there. Physical relationship. We're not putting forward our goddess energy. Instead, true goddess energy. Instead, we're putting forth our sexuality and our bodies and saying, and at the end of the day, devaluing our body. We're devaluing who we are. We're devaluing our temple, and we are devaluing our worth, our inner selves, our true selves, because what we're putting out here culturally, this whole thing about divine femininity, all of a sudden, or not all of a sudden, but now must be equated to I'm going to be over sexual. I'm going to put my body out here darn near naked. You better not say a word about it. I'm going to show my natural behind on Instagram or on social medias or whatever, and you better not say nothing about it. I'm going to go out here, and I'm talking to my sisters. Okay, I'm talking to my daughters, I'm talking to my nieces, and I'm talking to the mothers and the grandmothers that we're raising the next one, so we better get our together. At what point did we stop valuing having, for lack of a better word, class, having respect for yourself enough not to just simply put everything out here and act a plum lily fool at every turn? I am tired of seeing on reality TV. Why are we out here acting a fool? Why are we fighting, arguing, fussing? Okay? Why are we acting a fool? As my grandmother used to say, a plum lily fool. Why? That's not divine femininity. What that is hurt, that is wounded femininity, that is seeking to grow to her divinity, that is seeking to find her way in the process, that's seeking to find her way in an ascension, right? On the ascension path, but it is not divine in nature, as if we define divine as of a high frequency or vibration that's not walking in a goddess energy. Now, I am not saying that one should not feel free to be sexually free or what have you. I have zero issue with that. But what I want you to hear me in saying divine femininity does not equal sexual promiscuity. And sexual promiscuity, if you're doing it within, and you do honestly have complete control over your body, over your being, you completely know who you're giving your energy to, beloved daughter, niece, mother, sister. If you know who you're giving your energy to, who you're sharing your energy with, who you are commingling and entangling yourself with on every energetic level, be it lover or friend, and you have complete control over it, I got no problems. I got no issues. I got no problems. It's when we honestly don't have control over it, then we're not exercising our divinity. We're still little girls that need healing. We're still little girls that need to do the inner child work. We're still little girls that need to grow up and grow into our womanhood. Now, this might be a little bit harder of a discussion to have today, but we're going to have it because sometimes we need to have it and we need to speak frankly. I'm getting some questions here about what do I think that it is being done to attack the divine feminine? No. This is what we're doing to ourselves. This isn't an attack. This isn't anything. This is what we as human beings, as women, are doing to ourselves. Okay? So I'm just talking to the daughters and the nieces and the mamas and the grandmamas and the sisters today, how we can help ourselves, okay? And then help the youngins as well, because we need to help them. Too often, tools of the light get used by the dark. or the shadow. We see it all the time. This is nothing different. So it's being masqueraded as this massive liberation, but really what's happening is that you are now entrapping yourself even further into this toxic femininity, into this toxic lie that the only way to exercise your divine feminine nature is to overly sexualize yourself and to give your energy freely. That's not good. That's not good. You know, we talk to our empaths about the fact that they can't keep sharing all of this energy and be givers all the time. We get addicted to being givers. As empaths, we do. As women, we get addicted to that as well. As women, because our feminine nature, for the most part, right? For the most part, is to nurture, is to create, is to grow, right? We're the hand that rocks the cradle, and that should be the hand that rules the world. But too often, because we have not walked in our true feminine nature, we're not ruling the world. What we end up doing is doing some passive aggressive, or we end up doing some manipulative, right? Rather than influential, manipulative. A new friend of mine, Linda Hales, said this to me the other day. Maybe it was just yesterday. No, it was the other day. She said, manipulation and influence, I'm paraphrasing, are two sides of the same coin. It depends on your intent. What ends up happening is that we can subconsciously, if we're now, this is the culture of divine femininity, not truly understanding the consciousness of divine femininity. The culture of divine femininity says, I'm going to jump up and down. I'm going to be manipulative. I'm going to be accusatory, even when when it's not true. And then it throws shade and throws a poor light on others who actually have had these things happen to them. I'm going to manipulate because I'm doing this out of hurt. I'm not even saying it's malicious. I'm saying it's out of hurt. I'm going to be passive aggressive out of hurt. I'm going to show myself or put myself on display without having any modicum of self restraint, right? Or anything like that. And I'm going to dare somebody to say something to me. I'm going to dare somebody to talk to me. I'm doing this so that I can get the attention and be talked about. And then victim mentality come up and say, but you're talking about me. Well, honey, what did you expect if you come out like this? And I'm not saying you deserve it. I want you to hear me. That don't take this that far. Leave it where it's at. I'm saying to you, if you act a certain way, just like if I put out a video tomorrow that says something about I'm so all of a sudden against hair weave. Just something. I'm just going to throw that out there. I'm against hair weave. I think it's horrible. Wig life only. Okay. I think the women that get hair weaves just have no self-respect. If I put that out there, y'all better not take that snippet of what I just said. Anyway, if I put that out there tomorrow, I'm probably going to get a big hate train. But I knew when I said it, I should have known, right, that this could be a possibility. I can't get upset if people get mad at me because I said that. I can't. How can I get mad? Okay? Now, if I'm standing in my power on that stance and I'm like, yep, that's what I believe. It ruins your hair. It does this. It does that. Blah, blah, blah. And I don't believe that. But I'm just saying, guys, follow me here. If that's truly what I believe, I'm going to stand in that 10 toes down and it's not going to matter what anybody says. Why? Because that is my true belief. So when you do these things, ladies, when we're acting in our divine feminine nature and we're doing it from our place of power and not from a place of recycled victimhood, we get a very different response. Very different response. Because I have seen a number of young ladies that are out here that may dress a certain way or whatever. Now, my cap rising would never allow me to do it, but they can, and it's all in their glory, and they own it, and they own it in who they are at their very core, and nobody has a word to say. You can tell the difference in the energy from someone who truly is sitting in the seat of her queendom, of her divine femininity, and someone that is doing it from a place of hurt and pain. This is what I want you to begin to discern. You will see this in the culture. Now, let's move on to cult. The cult of divine femininity. And this one I'm probably going to get into a little trouble with, and that's just the way it's going to be. Listen, I've also, over the last 6 months or so to a year probably, heard a number of women of the church. And they're out here. And also, this has also actually come from the manosphere as well. That to truly be a woman walking in her femininity, you must be submissive, a size 5 or less, of childbearing age. And if you're not that for the manosphere, then you must, submit to your husband and all of this, that, and the third. And if you step outside of those boundaries, you are at no point in time, then you're stepping outside of your femininity. You are then devaluing and demasculating or emasculating your man. Child, now that's a cult that's been around for a long time. That definition of femininity. And I think that one's pretty easy for all of us to agree. That ain't it. Now, listen, if you are happily married or happily in a relationship, woman, and the way that you and your husband or you and your significant other have arranged your relationship so that it is an even energy exchange, and the man or the provider is not lording that over your head, or you, if you are the provider, are not lording it over their head, and you have this exchange worked out to a T, and this is cool with y'all, I am cool with it. It is only when it gets to the point. It is when it gets to the point where one person loses their voice, when one person loses their ability to speak, when one person loses their ability to have a thought, to raise a question, to take an active role in the relationship and the decisions that are made in regard to the family or the relationship, when one person is disempowered because the other person controls all the money, all of it, which, let's be real, in the third dimensional realm, money is a powerful energy. If that is what is happening and you are not able to truly be you, excuse me, I'm sorry. If there is a moment in time, any moment in time where you are basically in a trapped situation and you are told repeatedly, don't say anything. It doesn't matter if your husband's out here cheating. It doesn't matter if your husband's being verbally or emotionally abusive. It doesn't matter if your husband basically is just giving you a little bit of an allowance and telling you you can't go and buy this, that, and the third, but they're doing this, that, and the fourth. You understand what I'm saying? If it's a toxic situation, we got problems. We got problems then. Because this whole submissive in order to be feminine is just BS. It's absolutely BS. But what's happening is now you have a lot of church folk jumping up onto the scene and jumping up onto the YouTubes and the Instagrams and the TikToks and the Facebooks. And they're reiterating this age-old, antiquated, misogynistic, patriarchal bullshit. And they're reminding women, now don't forget, now you make sure that your hair is all beautiful and that your makeup is on, and don't go to bed in your bonnet, and make sure that the food is ready when he gets home, and you're not emasculating him in any way, and that you submit to his wishes. And the one that really gets me the most is, don't forget that you are not supposed to withhold your body from your husband so that he does not fall into temptation. Let me tell you something. If I hear anybody quote that verse again in my natural life, what do the kids say? It's on sight. I'm going dead upside your head. I'm not going to stop. There's going to be, in the words of Bernie Mac, some furniture moving. There's going to be some furniture moving. If I ever have somebody say that to me in my face. So you mean to tell me that again, and they're saying that this is the way that you then are the best wife, and that you are walking in your feminine nature because that's how God created us. Let me tell you one thing. Let me tell you two things. You a lie, and you a damn lie. Because if you really look, now see, this is where it gets them. A lot of people, a lot of good church folks, they don't read any of the Gnostic books of the Bible. And for those of you who do not know what the Gnostic books of the Bible are, those are the books with the power that were not canonized during the King James era. Okay? Those are the power books that the Romans and then the English decided should not make the cut. Why? Because those are the books that told you the unadulterated truth. One of those books is the book of Judas. If you have not had the opportunity to read the book of Judas, I please implore you to do so. There is a reference in the book of Judas to the divine goddess Babelo, Babelo, I believe it's how it is spelled. And if you look that up, that word, that name references the entity that was here before all. And she was the one that oversaw creation. She was the one that moved upon the earth. It's a female. Don't tip that over. Sorry. For those of you listening to the replay, my kitty cat Gemini almost tipped over my drink. She, look it up. Go read it. It's right there. They cut that out. There's other references to she, divine goddess, such and so on and so forth. And in fact, anytime the Holy Spirit is referenced in the Bible, it is in the feminine the feminine gender. The feminine gender. And yet King James, in all of his sovereignty, in all of his knowingness, and all of his great and goodness, and all that it was, decided to take all of that power out. Why? Because he wanted to control every woman. Because those men sought to control every woman and regulated us to second-class citizens. Now, you get with that if you want to. You could call me a heretic. You call me whatever you want to. I've been called worse, child. And I'll get called worse again. But I'm telling you this. There is a religious cult along with a pain cult or a hurt cult within the culture of divine femininity in as so-called within pop culture and then within the religious sphere and the manosphere. It is a very toxic culture that will disempower you and not allow you to heal. It will continue to attract the negative, toxic, hurtful energy that we have all come here, right? We have come here to have the experience of learning how to work through those things. First of all, of experiencing this pain, and then learning how to overcome it and take this pain, take that energy, transmute it, be the alchemist we were meant to be. Go see my Hermetic Principles series. Be the alchemist we were meant to be. Transmute it, transform it, reintegrate it as higher vibrational energy so we can raise our entire vibrational set point. This is the purpose of one of the purposes of us being here and having this whole flipping experience. For others of us, part of the purpose of being here, a huge part of it, is to walk in and complete the mission that we agreed to do, that we agreed to complete when we came here. Whew. That we agreed to do. We had a mission. And we agreed to complete that mission. And along the way, in service to self, we get to heal all that stuff. But on the road to service to others, we have to then remember who the hell we are and wake up to who we truly are and wake up to our divine femininity, those of us that have shown up and incarnated as female in this lifetime. And then exercise our rights as divine feminine beings, as goddesses, as divine ones, as creators, as aspects of the all. Which brings me to consciousness. Now, we have done culture, and I hope my daughters and my nieces don't get upset. But please, before you go out here exercising all of your carnal rights, please get healed up so you don't continue to end up in pain because they leave you and they don't value you and you give up one of the most precious, if not the most precious gifts that we have. We have the cult that says, walk 3 steps behind. Don't you dare say anything. I make all this money. You ain't got nothing to say to me. You just have to stand over there and look pretty. And please don't you dare have a degree or career, because you are now useless to me because I'm man must come first in everything. Worship me, bow down, get my sandwich and my beer. Child, they're going to stop playing in my face with that one. You could tell that one chaps my hide. Anyway, as we started out this conversation, though, remember there's a consciousness that we're going to now talk about. And the direct opposite, the polar direct opposite of that, must always be implemented as well. So, as the divine feminine is being installed, awakened, and implemented, there has to be this other side of it, because that's how the third dimension operates, right? And it's close. So, it feels real, it feels icky. If we were fifth dimensional beings, there'd be a fifth dimensional opposition to this, but we wouldn't notice it as much. Why? Because we're of a higher frequency anyway. And we don't really, when you're a fifth dimensional being, I know those of you that are awakening to this and ascending to this, and you're beginning to walk in this, you're beginning to notice that you are separating yourself away from everybody else. That you're separating yourself away from everybody else. That you are on a higher plane, right? And it's not that you don't like anybody else. You just really just don't necessarily either have that much in common, or you just kind of, it doesn't cross your mind. Why? Because you want to be around higher dimensional beings. Okay. Now, the consciousness of the divine feminine is this. It is when you, as an energetic being, awaken to your eternal nature, and you awaken to who you have been and who incarnated in this realm, and who you truly are from the higher realms. That is the consciousness we wake up to. When you recognize that as a woman, and then all of us have divine feminine and divine masculine, but I'm going to speak to those today that present, right? And that their divine feminine nature is the primary presentation in this realm. Okay? In this realm, in this incarnation, at this time, when the divine feminine is awakened, you no longer feel a need to have companionship from men, from the divine masculine, or from whomever, divine masculine energy. You begin to become complete within yourself. It is now a nicety. It is now an add-on. It is now a icing on the cake, the cherry on top of the sundae. But it is not the only thing that you think of. You begin to realize and recognize your absolute creative, amazing, unstoppable power. Because we are the birthers. We're the birthers. Nothing on this earth, in this earth realm, can happen without us. Absolutely nothing on this planet can occur without the agreement of and participation of with the divine feminine. And if you don't think so, I'm going to ask you to really rethink that concept real quick. Because last I checked, we're the ones that bring life into the world. Right? Feminine energy is, again, nurturing, creative, birthing. Right? It is that energy. It is empathic. It is also intelligent. It is also motivated. Okay? It is all of those things. When we're in a divine masculine predominance, and we're going to begin to see this, we're going to talk about this tomorrow with Mars coming in to play here and coming into this grand T square with Pluto. And what else? Oh, God. Don't get me to lying. And the moon. When you get that Mars aggressive energy, right? Or male aggressive energy of any sort, what happens is it's kind of like bull in a china shop. Yeah, you're going to get passion and yeah, you might get movement, but it's not going to be a graceful situation. It's like, whoa, right? We coming in hot. We taking no prisoners. We ain't asking. We're going to burn it down and ask questions later. It's an aggressive nature. It can be destructive. It can be. It can also be so flipping passionate that it is amazing. Truth Seeker, we're not discussing that tonight. We'll discuss that another time. Thanks. It is aggressive in nature. Passion is great, but passion without the seed of promise burns everything down and destroys. The rebirth happens in the womb, in the fertile ground of the divine feminine. The fertilization happens after the burn out the fire, right? Fire breeds fertilization. Now think about that however you want to, and you have a little chuckle. But if you also think about it, when a forest fire happens, as it should happen in the right way, then what happens is the ash and the soot and everything, it breaks down all of the nutrients that then end up seeping into the ground and refertilizing the land. And then as those nutrients like nitrogen and carbon and all these other wonderful molecule, all that gets put back, all the minerals gets put back in the ground, and then we have rain, and then we could put a seed in there, and then the seed grows, and it grows wonderfully. Do you understand? But that's started by fire, passion. It fertilizes, right? Creation happens afterwards. Nothing can happen on this earth without it. So I'm not saying we don't need the divine masculine. However, I will say this: I think it's Barbello, Barbello, Book of Judas. We're gonna have some top secret discussions about this, but Book of Judas talks about Barbello, and she is also discussed as the creator that didn't need a man. In fact, when we see Christ consciousness created, aka Mother Mary, there was no man around. Now I'm just going to drop that one right there and leave her right there. When you get into your divine feminine consciousness, then all of the things we've been talking about, how you exude femininity from your very cellular being, how you walk, how you create, how you are fearless, how you love hard, but you will take no shit from anybody. Then you start sitting in the seat of your power. So if I come out here and I have done this before, I'll come out and I'll dress what they would say a little sexy here and there, you know what I'm saying? Maybe got a little, got the girls up and I got the this and that boom. I ain't got that much boom back there, but I'll do what I'll give what it needs to be given, right? Now, I can walk in that sensuality and that sexuality without it being I'm unsure of myself, and so because and I'm still hurt and I'm leading with this. It is instead powering and empowerment, and I own it. And I will tell you what, I don't get a bunch of cat calls and stuff, not because I ain't cute. I get respectful. You see people standing over here, and I'm just admiring how beautiful you are. Thank you, sir. I appreciate that. You see, there's a difference. Whereas sometimes if you're kind of, you know what I'm saying? Now, I'm not saying that you have control over them, but when you exude a different energy, when you exude the powerful energy, when you exude the energy of, I know who I am, you are not going to shake me. I am not looking for your approval nor your validation. It don't really make me know. Never mind how you feel about it or you don't. Because, baby, I love me, all of me, every inch, every pound. Okay? Love it all, head to toe. When you exude that, when that is the energy you give off, baby, there's nothing that can stop you then. You are then embodying truly the goddess. Do you really think the goddess Isis gave a rat's patootie what anybody else thought about her? Yes, Tammy, Kundalini queening. Do you think she cared? Do you think Athena cared? Do you think Aphrodite cared? Do you think Freya cared? I don't think so. I don't think so. I think they came and did what needed to be done and gave what needed to be given and kept it moving. I think they executed their directive. They did what they felt was right. They operated in their power. Even if we want to talk about Mother Mary, she walked around, as the story goes, a teenager, pregnant, unmarried. I mean, got married, but right, she got pregnant before she got married and had never been touched. And I'm quite sure people would have had something to say. I mean, thank goodness Joseph was cool. But baby, what if he hadn't been? She'd have been out here. Do you think she would have cared? Absolutely not. Because she knew she was carrying Christ consciousness within. What is Christ consciousness? That is the heart-centered consciousness. That is service to others consciousness. That is, I have become whole within myself, and I can now be of great service to others while not losing my identity. Because I do not need you to validate me. I love each and every one of you to pieces. I love you to the moon and back. But what I will not do is require any of you to validate me. Now I ask, what do you think? How does this make you feel? What is your input and your insight? That does not mean I need your validation. That's very different. Having a discourse with you, I love to do that. But I have had plenty of people over the last 3 to 5 years say a myriad of things to me. Some things rather hateful, some things just incredibly stupid, trying to make me question my beliefs and trying to make me question who the heck do I think that I am? How dare I? Okay. It doesn't move me. It doesn't take me out of my space. I am seated firmly on my throne. I know who I am. I know who I am, right? I know who I am. And I am walking in the divine feminine energy. I'm not being hateful. I'm not being spiteful. I'm not being manipulative. But I also do not require you to validate my existence based upon some third dimensional or other measurement of who you think and what you think a woman is. And that, beloved, is when you wake up to the consciousness of walking your divine feminine. I can create all, whatever, whatever I can imagine. I can practice immersion and then create it in inception without hesitation because I know who I am. So I don't subscribe to the cult of the culture. I don't need the culture to validate what I'm doing. I don't need any of these crazy cults to validate what I'm doing. I'm walking in the consciousness of an empowered, eternal, divine, feminine being. Now, men, you can wake this up in yourselves as well and walk in balance. And perhaps we'll talk about the divine masculine next week and its operation within women. But I want to talk to my daughters, to my nieces, to my sisters, to my mothers, and to my grandmothers. Let's all together help one another heal so that all of us as a unit can walk in our divine feminine nature and not be out here getting hurt and trampled on so that we can heal and then we can heal the world. Guys, I want to thank you guys so much. We are almost at the top of the hour, or at the hour, I should say. I don't want you guys to forget, for those of you that are watching me on YouTube, please, if you think about it, if I've earned your subscription, subscribe, like, and hit that bell so you're notified for more content, and share it with your friends if you enjoyed this today. Facebook, thank you guys so much for being here. I so very much appreciate you. And again, you guys can share it as well. And for those that are going to be listening to this replay on the streaming platforms, we are now on iTunes. I sound so old. iTunes, Spotify. We will soon be on iHeartRadio as well. Soon be also on Google Podcasts. Thank you very much. Please follow. Please share this content. You guys feel free to email me at admin@heartofinspiration.net with any ideas for for future podcasts. Also, if you go to heartofinspiration.net, the website, you can also then sign up for my newsletter and be notified of different events and also get some really good information brought in there. And also, if you go there as well, or go to the link tree in the description on the YouTube or in the Facebook and or Instagram posts, you will be able to find a link tree if you are interested in taking your spiritual gifts and abilities and finally walking in your purpose and flowing in abundance in your spiritual business. Please consider just booking a 15-minute call with myself and my team and see if the Practical Lightworker program is for you, where we help you quit your day job if you have one, but get into the flow of abundance and purpose. Next week, guys, we are going to have my dear friend Psychic LJ. She has a YouTube channel, Louise Jones. She is on Facebook. She is on YouTube. She's on Twitch. She's a fabulous woman from the UK. I can't wait. We're going to be doing that interview and we're going to play that next week. So exciting. She's a dear, dear friend of mine. Go check her channel out. Go check her Twitch out. Y'all, she has made some predictions, world predictions, that will blow your mind away. She channels a medium, clairvoyant reader as well. Like, we're just sisters. So I can't wait to have her on the podcast next week. Peace, love, blessings, and joy be unto you today, tomorrow, and for all eternity. I love you guys so much. Namaste. Bye, guys.